Hello, chemistry students. I'm the instructor for Chemistry 2010, and I'm going to go through the syllabus in this YouTube video. Our lecture is for spring semester 2021. It's going to be on Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 to 9:45 a.m. They call it synchronous Zoom lectures because we meet at the regularly scheduled times instead of asynchronous, which is kind of random times. Right now, there's 180 students enrolled, so it's a pretty big class. I plan to send a link to my course syllabus that I hope to post on my webpage at Cal Poly, but right now they won't allow me to go to Cal Poly. But as soon as I can get in there, then I will post that on my webpage. It'll also be on Blackboard, but Blackboard doesn't open right away. So I have a screenshot on the next page that shows the Blackboard section where it will be in some other miscellaneous information. The syllabus quiz, list of textbook problems, approximate calendar, a little bit about myself, and the Zoom entry codes to join the lectures. So those will all be in the Welcome Start Here section. The syllabus quiz will be due on the very first day of our lecture, so you can expect to upload that before the 8:30 a.m. start time. Our lecture should start on January 26th. School actually starts on January 25th, which is a Monday, but our class is Tuesday, Thursday. And that will count as your first homework assignment. That'll be 10 points. And I have many homework assignments throughout the course, and each of them count 10 points. And altogether, they add up to like 30% of your grade, so it's pretty important that you do that. If you have any questions when you're going through that, there's a section in Blackboard, a discussion section, so you could put something there, or you can send me an email. Either of those would be okay. This is a picture of the way Blackboard should look for you when you go in for our course. You'll see over here on the left side there's a lot of different little titles. Those may change a little bit as I modify it for our particular course. Right now I have up here Welcome, Start Here, and that's going to have these things here, the syllabus, which tells you about the conditions for the course. There's a syllabus quiz that'll be in there. There's a list of textbook problems by chapter in the book. A little bit about me, my background, and then the approximate course schedule, that could change. And then down here I have the links for the Zoom, joining the Zoom lectures. Okay, so again, my name is Phil Beecham. I'm the professor. I've been teaching at Cal Poly for over 40 years. So I retired in, 2012. I taught as what they call a FERPer, sort of a half-time retirement for 5 years. And ever since then, I've been teaching as a lecturer, teaching this course. It's not a lot of people want to teach this course for some reason. My office hours during this particular semester, the Zoom times will be Tuesday, Thursday, 12 to 1. That should be 12 to 1 p.m. Forgot to change that. And then Wednesday, 10 to 11 a.m. So those are the regularly scheduled times. That's 3 office hours a week. But sometimes I have an extra office hour. If I do that, I'll have to send out a specific link for that to your email. So also occasionally, if somebody has a problem or something, I can do a little Zoom session over that kind of situation too. If you have questions, you can always email me. I try to answer them pretty fast, but just depends what's going on. These are crazy times, and so I try to be prompt, but I can't always do it like instantaneously. If you have a specific question about a problem, it's good to send a scan or a picture of the problem, so I can see what you're doing. A lot of times I can see mistakes that you're making very quickly, and then let you know about that. These are the books that I wrote myself. So since I'm teaching the course, I just figured I might as well write the book. That way you know what I expect of you. They're pretty close until we get about till chapter 11, 12, 13, in that range there, when we start to run out of time. But in the first part, the books align pretty well with what I expect you to know, so it's a good thing to know. You can get them at Amazon. The textbook's $25, plus I think they charge you tax. However, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you don't have to pay postage, and it comes within like a day or two. The solutions manual, I don't think that's going to be at the bookstore. I didn't see it listed, so you might want to get that from Amazon. Or the other thing, even better, is if you know somebody who took the course, you can just borrow their book or buy their book from them. Probably sell it pretty cheap since there's not a big market for this book except for me. So that's another possibility too. So you can get it at Cal Poly. They charge a tiny bit more, but you don't have to pay postage. And I did not see the solutions guide there, but they do have some used ones that I saw, but those might run out pretty quick with 180 students. Now the alternative, when another instructor teaches the course, is they use a book that costs about $200, and the solutions guide is about $100. So it's quite a bit more expensive. I tried to keep this pretty cheap, and in fact, like I said, if you know somebody who took the course, maybe you can get it for free. That's okay with me. So I send a lot of emails out. I usually do that through either Bronco Direct or through Blackboard. It doesn't make any difference really because it goes to your email. What it means is you have to check your email regularly in case I send you something. I used to post stuff on my course's webpage, but since Cal Poly won't let me have access to my office, I pretty much do most stuff through Blackboard now. So you guys all have access to that, and that's probably the way we'll do it most of the time. One student told me that he looked at stuff over his iPhone and it didn't show up. That some things did not show up on his iPhone that did show up on his computer. I don't know about that. I'm just telling you what the student told me in case you have a similar situation. Just another thing to point out is, my book is not perfect. There's some mistakes in there. And so if you see something that looks wrong, you may be correct. You can always email me. I'll let you know. So there are a few mistakes. That's about all you need to hear on that. Okay, so in this course, everybody wants to do well. They all start off with high hopes. But you need a good approach to succeed. So the problem is, I don't know your special situation. There's like 180 of you guys, and everybody's got their own situation. Some people really are interested. Some people don't really care. They just want to get through. This could be your first time in the course, your second time, your third time. Officially at Cal Poly, the third time should be your last time, although I have heard of people petitioning to get a fourth try. So you don't really want to take the course over. It's a lot of time. It's like a whole semester that you got to spend, and it's a lot of money. Puts you back because it's a prerequisite for certain things. So just put forth the right effort on the first time and make it work. Okay? You don't want to waste your time and money doing it all over again. But the thing is, you're in charge of your life. Everybody in here is an adult. You might have a job, and that's probably a lot of people have to do that. I had to do that myself. I worked my way through college. You might be taking too many units. That's probably a mistake. You have family obligations under these trying times. A lot of people have that. You might have family members that have to be quarantined or, taken care of. These are all things that affect your ability to do well in this course. So make a realistic evaluation. Okay, if you have to spend a lot of time on some of these other commitments, then put that time in there and take this course when you have the time to give to it, because you don't want to have to repeat this course. All right, so give yourself a realistic evaluation on that. If you can't do it, drop and wait till you can do it. So I have to assume that you are in the course because you want to learn organic. That's my assumption. I know it's not true in every case, but that's what I'm going to assume. Okay, I have over here the two women who won the most recent Nobel Prize, 2020, Emmanuelle Charpentier, si vous parlez français, and Jennifer Doudna from the United States. She's up at UC Berkeley, and she's in France, I think Paris, France. What they did was they figured out this little enzyme RNA complex that can edit DNA, and they can go in specifically to a certain spot in DNA and make corrections and modifications. So really will revolutionize, already has revolutionized the ability to manipulate DNA. Okay, so what's your goal in this course? Are you just trying to get a passing grade? That could be a C. Some cases it's a D. I've had students who are very happy to get a D because they don't have to take anything beyond this course, and they just want to get through. Now, a lot of students in foods and nutrition have this B- requirement, which is, that's a department criteria. You know, it seems kind of tough to have to get a B- to succeed in the course, but if you do have to get a B-, then you're going to have to put in a little more effort, make sure you get that done. Okay, everybody else who has to take biochemistry, then your goal is a C-. This is a minimum. Now, I'm assuming people don't really want the minimum, but if that's the case, you got to get that. So if you work hard, you have discipline, perseverance, consistency, determination, you will succeed in this course. Okay. Now, I'll tell you one thing is the course is easier at the start. It gets harder and harder as we go along because there's more and more material, and the material gets more demanding. So make the early part of the course count. Now, I have the course in 3 parts. The first part is I give out assignments frequently, 2 or 3 assignments a week probably. And I count them all about 10 points, and then I add them all up at the end, and that's going to be 30% of your grade. Now, I do drop the lowest 2 of those, so you get a little benefit there. Now, this is a part that you can control, so make that a good grade, good contribution. That'll give you a big boost up for getting to the goal that you want. Okay, now the midterm, down here, the midterm is also 30%. These are each 30%, and it will be easier than the final exam. So I stopped the midterm right after we do acid-base chemistry, which is chapter 8. Go through that, and that'll be your best chance to get a decent grade. So if you can make a strong grade there, that'll be 60% of your grade that's in hand, and give you a good starting point for the final. The final doesn't have to be that great then to get the goal that you want. Unless it's an A, of course, then it's got to be good. So I just want to give you this warning up front. Okay, the early part of the course, you want to really establish yourself. And then when that final comes, you won't have so much pressure on you. All right, the final will be cumulative. It will count all the stuff in the early part and the later part. A little bit heavier weighting on the later part. Okay, we'll go through that in just a little bit. Now, this is something that happens every single semester, and it just tears me apart. I get a lot of really sad stories at the end of the semester when it's too late to do anything. Okay, so after the final's all over, people are sending me emails to save them from their really dire situation, and I'll tell you, I feel sad too, but I'm not going to change anything at the end. Okay, this is at the start. Now is when you can save yourself. Okay, I'm willing to help you at office hours and emails as we go along, but once we get through with the course, it's over. Okay, and I'm not going to change anything. Well, if I make a mistake, of course, I'll change that. Okay, now when I grade the assignments, I grade those easier. Even if you totally get it wrong, you bomb everything, I'm going to give you a minimum 20% effort points. And I usually grade them even easier than that. Okay, but if you approach the assignments in a sloppy manner where you don't correct things and don't know what's going on, that's the way you're going to take the exam too. So try to be diligent and be meticulous as you can in the assignments that I give out, and you'll do well on the exams. Okay, I've seen it every single semester. I've been teaching this course for decades. Okay, so as you go through and you do the homework or the assignments, check your work and correct it if you make mistakes, and then try to repeat it. And if you can't repeat it and get it right, then repeat it again. Okay, so I put down here, doing the problems one time correctly is better than doing 10 sloppy tries. If you just do it wrong over and over and over, you might as well not even try it. In fact, it reinforces the bad result. But if you do it 3 times correctly, that's even better than 1 time correctly. So I always encourage people to repeat it, even if you get it right. I did that often as a student, and I did pretty well in school. Now, one thing when you turn it in, I would really like you to make your name written clearly, print it, and write in something that is dark enough that I can see. Some people write in such light pencil, I can't even read it. So I don't know what to do. And try to make it clear. Some people are a little bit sloppy. So I just want to, and then also make sure it's right side up. This is very hard to read. I'm looking at a computer, and if it's submitted sideways or upside down, I really can't read it very well. So you got to remember, I'm grading about 880 of these, and it takes time to load up, and then it takes time for me to go through it, and then I have to record some stuff, and so it takes a while. You know, if there's 180 people and I spend 1 minute on each one, that's 3 hours. Just entering the data into Excel, it's like another half hour at least. So each assignment I give you is going to take me, probably about 4 hours to handle. So if I'm struggling to read it, I will just move on. I just won't give you any points for that one. So try to make it clear on your assignments. I don't accept it late. So the next day is too late. There's some critical problem, like your work or something, you can send me an email. I might allow you to turn it in on the same day. All right. And of course, it'll always be, you have to scan it and make it into a PDF file and upload it to Blackboard before the deadline, hopefully. Just a point here, exams are cumulative. Anything that I've covered up to the day of the lecture, day of the exam, is fair game. Material gets progressively harder. Start off strong if you can. The final exam covers about 40% of the previous material from the midterm and about 60% after the midterm. Okay, so the previous material can help you twice. It'll help you on the final, and it will help you on the midterm, and will also help you on the final. Now, this is important. If we were in class, I would strictly regulate this, but since we're not in class, I'm pretty much at the mercy of you honoring the rules of the course. I allow you one 8x11 page. Okay, you can write whatever you want on both sides. I don't care. You can put previous problems from exams or whatever you want. I allow you the use of a calculator. If you have molecular models, you can use those. Not everybody has those. Excuse me. And harder to get them now with us not being at Cal Poly. So I have to trust you on this. Okay? Pretty much the honor system. So you can cheat if you can get away with it. If I do detect that there's cheating, and I can usually tell that by how the answers look, then I will give you a 0 on that particular assignment. But I don't want to do that. So I just don't want you using your phone, using your computer to go out and do comparisons, say Google or to my web page or something like that. Now I actually have an exams web page, and I have the link down here at the bottom. And so if you take a look at that, you'll see I have several previous exams, midterms and finals. And you can see the blank exam, and you can see the key. I have copies of variations of all those. So you can check things out a little bit. I hardly change my format. It's very, very similar if you go back. I haven't been posting any recent ones because I can't get into Cal Poly to modify my web page. But sometimes I can do it in Blackboard. Okay, so even on those I have sometimes made a mistake. So if you think you're looking at something and it seems like you don't understand why you're getting it wrong, it's possible I made a mistake. So again, you can email me and I'll take a look and tell you if that's the case. I also have a section there when I used to teach the whole year course called Chem 314, although now it's 3140. And that's the first quarter of this, when I used to teach that, is the same as the first quarter of this course when it was quarters. Now this course is semesters, so there's a little extra material because we could do 5 extra weeks. Okay, so a little more material to learn. But anyway, there's some exams down here you could possibly take a look at if you want more examples. This is my exam webpage. Here's the links on my webpage. So I have something called courses part, and that's where I put a lot of just general information. But this is the sample exams. So if you look down here, you see Chem 2010 midterm 1, spring 2019, and so forth down the line. When we met at Cal Poly face-to-face, I had 2 midterms, but grading over Blackboard is kind of difficult. So I just do 1 midterm now and a final exam. But anyway, you can see there's a lot of sample material here that you can take a look at. Here's some keys. Okay, so here's the exam, the blank exam, here's the key, and so forth. Final exam, So I have midterms and finals in here. All right. Now, when you take the exam, know your strategy before you get in there. Look at some of the sample exams. Figure out what it is you do well. I'll give you a cover page that has all the questions on there, so you can see the kinds of questions you're going to have to do, and you can decide which ones you feel most confident with and do those ones first. Okay? Like I said, my exams all follow a similar format. Hard to even change them. Usually I just call up an old exam and just modify the questions a little bit. Be very familiar with that format so you can decide what problems you're going to do first and what problems you're best at, and do those first. Okay? So if we were at Cal Poly, you would have 75 minutes and nobody would ever finish it. But under COVID times, what I gave the students last semester was I gave them 3 hours to do the exam, and I added in an extra half hour. That's to scan it and submit it and so forth. Now, if you're not going to use that, if you're going to actually spend time doing the exam, then you better be quick scanning it and submitting it, because that extra half hour is for that. And so then what happens is I get people starting to submit it like 1 or 2 minutes before it's due, and you're probably not going to get it loaded in, so your exam will be late. Okay, you don't want to do that. You want to get it in on time. For the final, normally if we were face-to-face, you'd have 110 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes. But we're going to take it over over Zoom, Blackboard, I guess. And so I'll give you 4 hours for the final, and I'll give you extra half hour to scan it and upload it. Okay, so again, you want to get it uploaded by the deadline. And I don't actually, even here, even though you have all this time, I don't actually grade it on the entire exam. I curve it a little bit. I did that last semester. And so basically, you have to probably get, if you're looking for an A, really top grade, the top students will get about 3/4 of the material done. And then you just have to adjust your standards depending on what your goal is. Okay. So again, as you do the problems, check your answers, correct them, and then you'll do fine on the exams. Okay. So the more practice you have, the less anxious you'll be. Okay, the final exam schedule, this is what I looked up. You can double check me and see if I'm wrong. Our final should be on Thursday, May 20th. And the way I give the exams is I start them real early. I start them at 6 a.m. and I go to 8 p.m. It's got to be in by 8 p.m. Okay, so in the final, I'll give you a 4-hour window. So you can start whenever you want. But once you start, you got 4 hours to finish it. Okay, plus an extra half hour to scan it and upload it. So you can take it any time in here, but remember, it's got to be in by 8. So if we go backwards, that would be like 4 o'clock, say 3:30. So if you started at 3:30, you'd have 4.5 hours to get it in by 8. All right. The way I grade is 85 is an A, 70 a B. I made a special grade for B- for foods and nutrition, dietetics majors. 55 is a C. I made a special grade for C- because that's what you need for biochemistry. That's 50. 40 is a D. That can get you through the course if you don't have anything following this. And anything below that would be an F. Although in the last couple semesters, they've let people take it for A, B, C credit or no grade, no credit. So that might be a possibility if you're doing particularly poorly. But like I said, some people, they're happy with a D because then they at least get credit for the course. But they don't get credit if it's A, B, C, no grade. Okay, I dropped the lowest 2 assignment quiz grades, so that helps you out a little bit there. Also makes that 30% a little bit stronger. Okay, so I just point this out, effort versus reward. You guys, just like everybody else, tend to procrastinate, do as little as possible. You got other things you want to do. But what I'm recommending is average 2 hours a day. So we're going 15 weeks, 7 days, 2 hours a day. That would be 210 hours of work. This is dedicated work, not just kind of casually looking at things, taking it easy. This is like focused work, problems, checking, and redoing if it's wrong. Okay, so what is this going to allow you to do? It's going to allow you to get through the course, reach your goals. What are your goals? Something you probably want to do for a career, that might be 40 years. I've been over 40 years in mine. 52 weeks a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's almost 350,000 hours of enjoyment because you got your goal here that allowed you to continue to succeed in your goal of your college degree and your future career. Okay, now the other thing is, ask yourself, how much time is it going to take you to retake the course? How much money is it going to cost you to retake the course? Okay, looking at this 210 hours, this looks like a bargain. If you have to come back and take this course all over again, you're starting from scratch. You're still going to have to come in and do the time commitment up here. If you have to take it 3 times, then you're doing it all over again. This 210 hours may sound like a lot, but put in the time regularly. Don't just jam it all up on Saturday afternoon and spend 10 hours on it, because you're not going to be able to absorb all the material. Kind of space it out. Even 2 hours straight is hard. Maybe an hour one time, give yourself a little break, an hour later, trying problems, contacting me about trying to figure out how to correct mistakes, and working with your friends, study groups and stuff like that. You guys can Zoom together too and kind of help each other out. Okay, so the main thing you want to get out of this course, whether you like it or not, of course I think it's great, interesting material, and that's enough, but you want to learn how to approach something that's difficult subject, because this is not your only course. I'm sure you have many courses, physics and math courses, and even certain biology courses can be really, really hard. Okay, so that's what you want to learn, how to succeed. This is just a little picture from the syllabus. It shows I have a section in there where I list the problems and the page numbers that you can find them on. This is from our first topic, chapter 1. Okay, so the assignments are not going to be all of these. I don't have the ability. When we met face to face, I would just have you try all these different problems and turn them in as a big giant pack. Some people would turn in like 10 different pages. I would collect those every single time and then pass them back the next lecture. But now I just have to kind of focus the assignments. So the assignment might be 2 pages long with some sample problems that I pick from the topic. I try to pick the problems to look sort of like the exam types of questions. So when you're working on the assignments, you're also kind of working on the exams. So keep that in mind. Okay, you want to keep up with the material. Okay, this is a course where if you get behind, it's very difficult to catch up. Okay, there's a few that have done it, but it's not common. All right? So the problems in the syllabus are suggested. I consider that a minimum effort. I know a lot of people don't even do those. Okay, so I would suggest, if you can, to consolidate the lecture after we go through and even work ahead a little bit. Okay, if you can look ahead a little bit when I'm talking about things, you might have questions you could ask, or the material might seem more familiar, or as I talk about it, you might say, oh, I start to get it now. I didn't get it the first time when I was reading it by myself. Okay, so you can go back and redo old material, try to learn it better. You might do that, saying getting ready for the midterm and the final. Anything that works for you. Okay, you're the one that has to decide. Turning in old sample exams. If we were face to face, I'd let you do that too. But since I'm giving out assignments, you don't really have this option here. Now, it's very likely we will not get through every chapter in the book. I've never done it yet. But it's possible we might reach chapter 14 or so. I'm not sure. 14, or is it 13? Might be chapter 13. I assume that whatever we cover, you're reading the book and you're trying the problems. That's my assumption. Okay, if you're not doing it, well, then I guess you got to make it up somehow that works for you, because I'm going to expect you to know that stuff. If I cover extra material, I'll let you know. I'll make a little handout or something like that. If you're not understanding the material, okay, visit the virtual office hours or email me your questions with a scan of your work or a picture of your work so I can see where you're making mistakes. I try to respond pretty quickly on the emails, and I don't always do it right away because I got stuff I'm doing too, and I'll just do the best I can there, and you do the best you can on yours. Now, I don't know how it was that when we met face to face, the Learning Resource Center used to offer kind of weekly study sessions. They'd get somebody who had the course like this or the 314, and they would be kind of like a tutor, and they would meet with people. So that was kind of helpful for some of the students, but I don't know if they do that with the Zoom now. You can check that out and see if that works. But in any case, you can form your own study groups, okay, and then try and help each other, see what's right and what's wrong, and correct yourselves. So the way I did homework, and the way I suggest, is that you try the problems by your own effort, okay, then check the solutions manual. I couldn't do this. They didn't have solutions manuals when I took the course, so I had to just go back through the chapter and try and read the material enough to where I would understand what they were trying to ask me and try and figure it out. Use lots of paper. Write it out over and over. Okay, this is a real secret to organic, and I imagine other courses too. I did this with calculus and physics as well. Or some people, my daughter didn't like writing out on paper. She had a whiteboard, and so she would write things out, the answers that she thought, check them, and then erase it, and then she could just do it right away again. So that was her approach, and she did quite well at Cal Poly. Consult the key after you made your effort. Okay, and if you find that you did a good job, then great. Okay, come back a little later and maybe try it again. But if you made a mistake, correct it. Okay, and then come back, put it to the side, come back and try it again. Try and reinforce the correct answer. If you made a mistake again, then come back and try it again. It might take you 3, 4, 5 times. But once you get it, you got it. And in organic chemistry, that's a good thing because things tend to build on what you've learned already. Okay? So do the problems multiple times. Cost you time. It's going to take time, and you got a lot of other stuff to do, but if you want to succeed in this course, okay, you're in this course for 1 semester. Okay, you can do some of that other stuff later, but to get through this course, you're going to have to put in this time. Now, the lectures are 75 minutes. It's not enough time to cover everything. So part of it is you have to do the reading and check things. Visit the virtual office hours if you have questions. Last semester, what people did was I had a couple of students that really asked the questions. Okay, they had iPads, and I just shared with their iPad. They had stuff uploaded there, the assignments and everything. I just would talk them through, and everybody else that was sitting at the office hour could see what they were doing. So it worked great because a lot of the students who came to the office hour didn't want to be asking the questions. They just wanted to see what other people were doing. I tried to get them to ask questions, but usually they just held back. But, I had like sometimes 14 students at the office hour, but only like 2 or 3 were actually asking the questions. A lot of the other people acknowledged that they were very happy that they could see what was going on. I have notability, and the students who were doing most of the work had notability. I'm not real good at using it, but the students who were taking control and sharing, they were really good at it. And so I could just kind of talk them through. However, if it came to that, I could share my screen, my iPad, and I could work things out with my stylus and so forth. Not nearly as efficiently and neatly as those students did, but it worked. So, in this course, embrace the challenge. Don't avoid it, okay? You want to get in there and struggle with the material. That's how you learn it. Okay, so don't let the frustration defeat you. A lot of people, they get frustrated and then they just turn off and they go away from it. They don't address it. Okay, so you need to do that. The thing is, once you start to get it, it gets really interesting. I've seen this so many times. When people start to get it, it gets more fun. I'm not saying everybody's going to think it's a fun course, but as you start to understand, it gets better. Oops, let me go down the other way. So this is going to be the end of the syllabus video. We're going to begin, in our first lecture, we'll begin the adventure of learning organic chemistry, and I hope you enjoy that.